this thing?
I am ready for Hey Basic.
Whoop-a-boo. How? So, Marlana, let's talk a little bit about choosing a career path, because I think back to my life, and man, it has been just a cluster. I mean, I'm just like stumbling through life, trying to figure it out. I was a teacher, and then I worked for my brother and tried a bunch of different business ideas, and all I really needed was somebody 15 years ago to sit me down and say, hey, Phil, this is how you choose the right career path for you.
Yes.
I mean, not necessarily aiming to get the right answer right out of college, but at least be close. But here I am, senior in college, going, I guess I'll be a teacher. And then, that's led me to here, obviously, so I'm very blessed. But man, I think it would be great if we just sat and we talked a little bit about how do you choose the right career path, either if you are in high school, or if you are recently graduate and you're thinking, I don't know if this is my gig, or if you're an adult trying to look for a second career. I think this conversation could be so beneficial for so many folks.
Yes. And then actually, as a matter of fact, I had to go back and look at it as I was developing the plan to say, man, I need to use this right now. So I'm with you. I'm with you, Phil. I'm so with you. So we can flesh that out a little bit today, and I'm excited to do that.
Yes, and so we're going to, at first, tell me a little bit about what we're using to walk through this. So you've got everything laid out. It's called Getting Your Groove Back, How to Choose a Career Path That Is Right for You, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Tell me exactly what I'm looking at here.
So what you're looking at, first off, now this is the way my brain functions, so just bear with me. I have to organize things, even though sometimes it's an organized mess, but it's my mess. So we have to go back to basics and start just from the beginning. What do you want and how do you get there? So that's what I call a self-assessment. So when I started thinking about all these different components of how do you get your groove back? How do you figure out what you want to be when you grow up? First of all, you got to sit down and think about some things. So think about what you want. What are the values that are important to you? What are the skills that you possess? What are some of your hobbies? Like you, Phil, you are just such an awesome conversationalist, an awesome photographer. Like looking at all of that to say, what can I do that's going to make me some money?
Yeah.
With the skill set that I have, and then use that. So that's why you have to go through a self-assessment. So what I have done is gone through basically just a plan. Now, I'm not saying this is the end all be all, because everybody's plan and the way they go about it, it could be a little bit different. But this is what works for me. And this is what I would actually do when I was working with different, I shouldn't say employees, but when I was a case manager and I had different files and things, this is what I would do with them. Just have them think about some things, because how often do we actually have somebody sitting down with us to map out life?
Almost never.
You have financial advisors, you have a banker, you have someone to help you with the mortgage process, but we don't have anyone to say, let me help you get started. So today what we're going to look at is the self-assessment. Again, identifying those key values, look at the skills that you possess. What are some of your hobbies? What technical skills do you possess? And what does that, how can you use that in the workforce? And breaking all of that down. And I mean, down to the point of Control Alt Delete on the computer. Can you use the computer? So, because so many times what happens, we apply for jobs and we're like, oh man, that makes a lot of money. Yep, this is this. But you start working, you actually apply and you start working and you're like, the values of this organization, they don't match mine.
Yep.
But did you assess that before you applied for that job?
Yeah, I love this idea of starting off with a self-assessment. And the 3 questions that you have written here are just so great, because they're questions that we don't really think about. We don't really stop and think, especially if you're an adult trying to think, oh, I need a new career, I need a new job.
Yeah.
Especially if you have other responsibilities like a family and whatnot, you're almost in desperation mode where you're just looking at anything and everything that you could possibly do, which I absolutely understand and can relate to. But I think there's so much benefit in just taking a second and asking yourself these 3 questions that you have. What are your key values?
Yes.
So workplace dynamic, flexible schedule, work-life balance. Maybe you need an intense workplace or whatever your key values are. You're doing some kind of social good.
Yes. Yes.
Then the second question, what are the soft skills you possess? So
yes.
the things that you don't necessarily go to college for, but the things that you possess. Are you friendly? Do you hold a good conversation? Are you a problem solver? I love that. And then you close it off with, what technical skills do you possess? What are those hard skills? Can you use a computer? Can you run a TIG welder? Can you run a CNC machine? Making a list of all the things that you can do. And then that's really what you're working with. What are the things I hold as important? What are the soft skills I can bring to a job? And then what are the hard skills? And man, what a way to start off your career search.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And basically, I use this chart, if you may, to say this is my dumping ground. You know how you create a vision board of your big audacious goals and everything that you want in life? Do that with your career. Do that when you're thinking about what you want, because like when you talk about soft skills and all of that, those things are not necessarily taught, but you have to have time to think it out, flesh it out, and say, okay, this is what I have to offer. And this is what this is what I have to roll with. And how can I plug and play that with the next career for me? Yeah,
it also helps make sure that what you are pursuing aligns with something that you can pursue for a long time.
Absolutely.
I think I speak for most people that we're not necessarily looking for a gig or a career that we're going to be in for the next 2 years and then we're going to peace out to try to do something new. We really want all that work and investment and effort and energy and experience.
You want to make it work.
You want to make it work. And so you want a 5-year, 10-year, 15, 40-year long career. And so that really takes planning at the beginning to say, am I pursuing something that I could theoretically stick with for a long time? Otherwise, you're just grabbing at stuff and you're happy for the first year and then you're sad for the next 5 years and then you're back to square one.
Yep. And let me tell you how this is helpful for both the job seeker as well as the employer. From the job seeker's perspective, as we already talked about, it's just helping you understand yourself and what's important to you and what you have to offer, right? On the other end of that, if those items are identified up front for that job seeker to have that conversation with the employer, guess what that does for the employer? It reduces turnover. You get, better return on your investment because people are now making a conscientious decision on, I'm applying for this job because I think this is where it fits into these 3 items for me. These are my top 3 goals, and this job works for me. And as employers are going through those yearly and annual, or whether it's biannual or what have you, reviews with employees, guess what? You're understanding right up front because now I know what to communicate. When you don't know what to communicate, you don't know how to express what's important. You can't talk about it, and employers never know.
Yeah, and it dovetails so nicely with everything that we've been talking about with like resumes too, because or job interviews. When you write that resume, if you've done this self-assessment, you know what to put in there already.
Absolutely.
All you have to do is
plug and play.
Yeah, copy paste that in there. And then when you go to the interview and the for the job that you really, really want, and they ask you, what do you value? Your top 3 values, or besides the hard skills, what can you bring to our workplace? Because you've done that self-assessment, and you can say with confidence, I can do X, Y, Z, and that's just going to help pad that or stack that deck for that job interview because they see you as a person who's thought about this before. Yeah, I just love it.
Yes.
Maybe what we should do is we should split each one of these into like a separate episode.
Oh, we sure can, because I have so much
Yeah.
to say.
Okay.
You know, I'll go on and on.
Yeah, so
I love it.
So in the second episode of this, how to choose a career path that's right for you, we're gonna talk about identifying your must-haves.
Yes,
which
yes,
I'm
yes.
super excited to talk about. So stay tuned for that episode, and we're gonna keep diving in. We're gonna try to help you guys out. If you are looking for a career right now, I should make a little plug.
Yes.
HeyBayCity.com. Check out that job board. HeyBayCity.com/jobs. You can apply for jobs directly there. If you're an employer, you can post your jobs. If you're a job seeker and you don't see a job that you want, you can upload your resume. It goes right to Marlana, and she will help you find a job. It's such a useful tool for finding a career here in Bay County. So check that out, HeyBayCity.com, and then come back for episode 2 of this, how to choose a career path that is right for you. Thank you so much, Marlana.
Oh, thank you, Phil. As always, it's a pleasure.